classic, normal family holiday, as much as you can have a normal family holiday in a castle.
Yeah.
We know they love going out, they do fishing, walking. Prince Philip apparently was the boss of the barbecue for a long time. I'm not sure whether he's going to be flipping burgers this summer, but apparently he took some mean grouse. So this is the kind of thing that goes on at Balmoral, so I'm sure it's a great opportunity to get.
It's the kind of image I quite like.
I love
flipping burgers and
Prince Louis
popcorn.
having his first Scottish summer.
Yes, why not? Why not? Okay, Emily, thank you so much. I'm guessing we will talk about this again as much as you sort of don't want to. I just don't think Thomas Markle might be disappearing anytime soon, but thank you, very interesting. Still to come, one music star's extraordinary journey of coming out, how she hid being gay for over 20 years, and she's got a message for anyone struggling with their sexuality. That's coming up after the competition.
Morning! Imagine winning our incredible summer prize. That's a car and cash. How would you celebrate? This is how some of our previous winners felt.
When I found out I was the winner, I was really happy.
I was shaking, and I actually still thought it was a wind-up.
I got the phone call. I was in a state of shock for days.
This week we've another chance for you to win a brand new Audi Q5 worth over £40,000. It comes with virtual cockpit, alloy wheels, and you can pick the colour. Plus, there's a massive £75,000 in tax-free cash. For your chance to win, text WIN to 62525. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message, or go to the website. Entries cost £2. Call 09068 782525. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and phone number to BK31, PO Box 758, Derby, DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 2 p.m. on Friday the 31st of August. You've got to be in it to win it. Good luck.
Good luck with that. Now, with her career as a successful Christian rock singer performing in churches worldwide, Vicky Beeching seemed to have it all. However, for more than 20 years, she not only hid her sexuality, but also put herself through gay conversion therapy. Today, she's back in the government's plan to ban the practice and hoping her new book ensures others don't endure the suffering she has. Vicky grew up in a devout Christian family and began writing and singing worship songs as a child. She knew she was gay from an early age, but believed it was wrong, and even took the extreme action of volunteering herself for an exorcism as a teen. In her early 20s, she secured a record contract that led to her singing in front of congregations of thousands, and her decision to keep her sexuality a secret was making her ill. Aged 35, she decided enough was enough, and she revealed her true self. She believes the decision cost her her career, but helped her gain a life. And Vicky joins us now. I can't believe we even have to have the conversation almost about the sheer suffering that you have, and I don't use that word lightly at all, because it was suffering for many, many years, but a lot of that came from the fact that you associated your feelings and being gay with sinful thoughts. It was shameful. That's what was in your mind, and it was just impossible to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's such a core part of who we are, isn't it? Who we love and how we want to imagine kind of a future and having a family and a home. I think if you believe that the way that you're wired is actually wrong and sinful and shameful, it just kind of ruins you as a person. For me, it felt like being psychologically torn in two between my faith and knowing that I was gay.
And being heavily involved in your faith, like we said, at 13 you were writing and performing songs, and suddenly you had record deals, you were performing worldwide for people. So that was a huge part of your life, which you then completely battled against, because you were constantly thinking, well, this goes against what the faith is telling me.
Yeah, it's just terrible, isn't it? I mean, faith was crucial to me, and then obviously my orientation was a crucial part of who I was, and it just felt like there was this war going on, and I knew I was gay from the age of about 12 or 13. And as you say, my kind of church music career, where I began writing religious music and playing it, that kicked off about the same time. So I kind of had this career that I was passionate about, that I could see turning into a full-time job, performing religious music around the world, and yet I knew if I did go for that, I wouldn't ever be able to have a girlfriend or a wife.
Yeah, or the life that the
exactly.
soulmate, as you mentioned in the book. But you were talking about this mantra that you sort of live by constantly: if only they knew, if only the people else knew. So this, you couldn't be honest at all. From the age of 13, you knew what was going on within your own self. to the point where you did speak to a priest at one point.
I did.
And he tried to basically pray this out of you.
Yeah, well, I went to confession, Catholic confession. I thought maybe that would work. When that didn't work, then I actually voluntarily went for an exorcism because I was so convinced that being gay was wrong, because that's what I'd been taught by the church as I grew up. And it was just quite frightening. I was 16 at the time. People were placing their hands on me, telling the demons of homosexuality to come out. And it was just really traumatic. So it's taken a lot of therapy to realise actually that being gay is quite a natural, normal thing, and for me as a Christian to actually see it as part of the way that God has made me, and that there actually isn't any war that I need to fight.
To take it even further then, you were in your 20s, wasn't it, when you underwent this conversion therapy, and you did it both in the UK and in America, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which obviously you're now back in to just get banned completely, and you're back in a new government plan to do that, but how did that come about? Like, what was the process then?
Yeah, well, people hear about conversion therapy, which is basically any attempt to turn someone who's gay straight, and for me it looked like, going to confession, it looked like having an exorcism, but it also takes more subtle forms, and that was in my 20s, and it was forms of counselling really, where I went to Christian counsellors who believed being gay was caused by trauma, so they would see that everybody was actually born straight, that something bad had happened to you, and that was why you were gay. And so they spent years counselling me, trying to dig up these memories that didn't exist. Maybe there was sexual abuse, maybe there was something wrong with the way I was raised, and sowing all these very unhelpful ideas in my mind, because I had a great upbringing and a wonderful, loving family. So I'm really passionate to see these practices stopped, so that no one else has to go through the same stuff that I have.
And just add into the confusion that you were feeling at that stage. I can only imagine how you felt at the end of this.
Yeah, even more shameful and worse.
Yeah, but it took you becoming gravely ill before you really sat up and thought, I have got to change my life. I've got to be who I am.
Yeah.
And you underwent chemo and all sorts at that point, didn't you?
Yeah, it's been a real journey, and I talk about it in my new book called Undivided, and I talk about what actually brought me to this decision point of finally thinking I have to be true to who I am. And for me that was the breakdown of my physical health. So I've obviously suffered a lot of kind of mental strain, as you can imagine, from all of the kind of conversion therapy and the shame, and I thought maybe it was just going to be depression and anxiety, but it ended up affecting my body. I developed an autoimmune disease that required a form of chemo to treat it, and it was actually in a hospital bed, basically having had a physical and a mental breakdown around the age of 30, that I thought I have to be true to myself, I have to be authentic, and that was when I decided I had to come out.
And what was that next step? Was that then just approaching your family? Was that the first step to this road?
Yeah, chatting to my family, chatting to my close friends, but I knew because my music by that time was sung in churches all around the world, some of the most well-known songs in churches around the globe. I was so delighted that was the case, but I was also terrified because I knew that when I did come out it would be a big story, and I would probably lose my career, which I did. So it was kind of a step of faith, but kind of a terrifying one as well.
Yeah. How were your family and your friends? How did they approach you, just being honest with them after all of those years?
I think the reason I couldn't be honest was because most people in my life held those religious views that being was sinful, and even though they loved me, a lot of people didn't think that was the best choice for my life. And they would say that's out of a motive of love, they didn't want me to be doing something that God disapproved of. So most people in my life did hold that view. I lost quite a lot of friends. Thankfully my family really stood by me, and they're trying to understand and get to know the way I see the world. And my mission really is to just help people of faith, especially, to re-examine this issue, to realise the church has got things wrong in the past, and that we can revisit the Bible and church history, just look at it again and realise actually there isn't anything wrong with being gay, and the church needs to change its teaching.
Yeah, and how are you within yourself? As you say, you're still undergoing therapy, and there's a lot of things to work through. But how do you feel?
Yeah, well, it's been 4 years, almost to the day actually, since I came out. So it was August the 14th, 2014, when my interview with the Independent newspaper was published. And so yeah, it's been an interesting 4 years, and I feel just so free. And I think in writing my book, I wanted to set other people free. And it's not really a book about being gay or Christian, it's actually just a book about authenticity and conveying the message that actually life is very short and we need to be ourselves. And I can honestly say that despite all of the cost, despite all of the craziness that I've been through, the freedom to be yourself is such a gift. And I think authenticity is the biggest gift we can give back to the world. and the only way really that we can be ourselves.
And to move forward, of course. It's honestly such a moving, incredible read, and like you say, Undivided, it is out
Thank you.
now as
It is,
well. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Thank you so much, Vicky. Honestly, it's great to see you fighting the cause now as well. It's wonderful. Thank you. Coming up after the break, Anita Rani tells me about her headline-grabbing beauty secrets and how Strictly's inspired her latest Hollywood project. And find out why these Hollywood stars are celebrating what they have in common today. And Lisa Marie Presley reveals how 41 years after her father's death, Elvis still guides her.
Having fun this morning with Lorraine, sponsored by Oakham.
It starts with a duck breast and a sprinkle of onions to impress the whole gang this weekend. It starts with Asda, an extra special duck, now for just £3.
I was raising my daughter.
My confidence had been knocked.
I've been out of work for a while.
Then I found the Open University.
I could fit study around the kids.
There is so much support. I started to believe in myself.
Now I work in the energy sector.
I'm a teacher. I'm a biologist. Search OU Dream to get started.
You know, I shouldn't even be here. Years ago, a case of mistaken identity on a work trip abroad saw me locked up for a crime I did not commit.
Amazing. I really shouldn't be here either. But when a luxury break has 60% off, how could I say more?
Atom protected. Hyaluronic acid. It's the queen of skincare. It's in here.
Revitalift filler from L'Oréal Paris. With our highest concentration of hyaluronic acid, a replumping super ingredient. Wrinkles look filled and skin feels bouncier.
Here, here, here.
Revitalift filler from L'Oréal Paris.
Where was it?
Screen eyes are everywhere. Staring at screens, we blink up to 60% less, making our eyes feel dry. Optrex Acti-Mist is designed to rebalance your eyes' natural moisture with your blink, helping to leave them feeling refreshed. Optrex Acti-Mist, reset your screen eyes.
For the night, try Optrex Night Restore, a gel designed to help restore moisture levels at night. Optrex Night Restore Gel Drops.
That smell isn't your baby. Dettol washing machine cleaner kills 99.9% of bacteria, leaving your machine hygienically cleaner and fresher.
Don't miss our best ever offer for Superfast Broadband and Sky TV at an incredible £40 a month, including line rental. We'll never slow you down with our award-winning Superfast Broadband. Plus enjoy Sky Atlantic and over 60 catch-up TV channels. Unleash Superfast Broadband and Sky TV at our best ever offer, just £40 a month for existing and new Sky TV customers. Search Sky Offer. Disney Pixar Incredibles 2 in cinemas now.
Head lice dramas. Bring on new Headrin all-in-one shampoo. Kills head lice, removes eggs and cleans hair all in one. Ah, Headrin.
With Match, get 3 hours of free babysitting with every subscription.
Hey Kate, I love your house. It must have taken so much work. Actually, it was easy.
So hang on, all of this is from Wayfair?
Yep, and on a tight budget too.
Kate, what if I want to be fancy? They even do high-end looks too. So kitchenware?
Yep.
Lighting?
Yep.
Storage that fits my hallway?
Yes, Lorraine.
Oh, I like Wayfair.
From budget-friendly to high-end, you'll find what's right for your home at wayfair.co.uk today.
Dear. And do what we always did. Assemble the pieces we have, fill the space in between.
They found something. A new case in the Bletchley Circle, San Francisco, concludes Wednesday at 9 on ITV.
Having fun this morning with Lorraine, sponsored by Oakham.
Welcome Before the break, we asked what these stars had in common, and the answer is they're all left-handed. It's apparently International Left-Handers Day today.